do there now? How weird.
Mhm.
I don't know what I played just now. Hi, Tashni, welcome.
Hi, Louise.
Okay, so we are excited about our book and a little bit scared, I think, and very excited.
Yeah.
I am so proud of this book. You know,
Mm.
I think when you've been looking for help for a very long time yourself and really tried hard and you've not been able to get help, to be to be part of a book that offers so much help. That's for me is one of the biggest things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I actually I think one of these quotes, but it's such a long quote. I don't know what I was thinking because it's a very very long quote. So one of these quotes that I want to share with our readers does allude to that a little bit. Let me see if I can get it out there. See what I'm saying? It's a very very long quote. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. Right. And I've got all these
Okay.
little black boxes in front of it, so I can't quite see everything. I think at extremes, oh, I don't want to read that. Okay, so I was impatient with my healing journey. In my defense, I was also a desperate person. I just so wanted to be cured, well, bettered, and enlightened. My goal was and still is to feel at ease with life. I do not want to feel I'm fighting life on a daily basis. So let me get out of full screen here and remove this. So I just find where it is now. Full screen messes up a little bit where things are. Okay, there we go. So this is what I want to talk about that desperation. Because and I also had that desperation and without having a name for it. And I love what you say that you just want it to be not so hard. You just want it to be a little bit easier.
Mm.
So that you have a very long road. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, what you've tried that didn't work?
Mm. Louise, it was definitely, it is a long road. Obviously, now it's a lot better than it ever was, but it's, you can't even describe it. It's hard, and it just feels like it's never going to end, and you never see that there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. It just feels like this tunnel is just going on, and there's no end in sight. Yeah, I feel that I tried everything that I could think of, that anyone recommended, that I could get my hands on, any book, any conference, talk, alternative therapy, conventional therapy. I tried anything that I could because I just wanted to feel better. I didn't know how to feel better, and I didn't know what was wrong, because
Mm.
I just felt there's something wrong with me, but I couldn't explain it. I couldn't describe it. I didn't have a name for it. I just felt that I was struggling more than most people, it seemed. And my life, I mean, after when I became an adult and I had my own life, sort of, it wasn't so hard. I mean, to people on the outside, it looked like a good life, a blessed life. And I could not figure out why I didn't feel blessed and why I felt it was still so hard.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you 100%, and I think it's important to know. So, you're a doctor, you've got your own
Yeah.
house, you've got you've got a lot of extra qualifications. You, you
Yes.
you didn't just stop, so you got all these extra qualifications. Research continues. The next thing is on the horizon. Let's do it. And beautiful daughter, husband, parents who you actually know love you, but you don't know. So, and it looks beautiful from the outside because we work so hard to let everybody think, we are fine, we're just fine, and we don't have any problems. And in the inside, we do know that something is just not right, but you can't see it from the outside. And here's our
Right.
problem, and that is that so many of us are walking through life like that, pretending to be fine because that's all we know. We don't know how to be anything else. We just know how to pretend to be fine. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is that to a big degree we are fine because we are functioning. We do our jobs, we buy the groceries, we keep a house running, it looks beautiful even, and
Mm,
we look fine, we look like we're functioning. And I think a lot of us, because we can manage to keep on functioning, don't
mm.
even know that life can just be so much easier.
Yeah.
Did you
Yes,
have like
really.
did you have like a belief system that life just couldn't be easier?
I think I felt that I was being punished for
Mm,
something, that I deserved this life, that way it almost felt like I was being tortured. That was actually, I used to think that I went into this paranoid phase of thinking I am being tortured. I'm being given the blessings, but I'm not able to enjoy it, which is the worst kind of torture, where you see the beautiful things that you want to be, you are grateful for, but you cannot feel joy. You just cannot feel joy, and that for me is, well, torture for me, emotionally and mentally. Yeah. And then eventually physically, your body, yeah, your body pays the price.
yes. I think your the way that you start your chapter, how you describe that you couldn't see beauty. You just could not see beauty. You sit here with all these blessings. You are this talented, intelligent woman, and even if your brain understands it, there's a very big part of you that doesn't understand it. And you are struggling to enjoy beauty because life is just too hard.
Yeah. And
So,
you keep waiting to snap out of it.
oh, okay, all right. And so,
Mm.
how 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 did you keep yourself alive? How did you not give in?
I think I think I did give in many times, and I just let myself just give up. And at some points I just accepted, okay, this is going to be my life, and I felt that till I took my last breath I was going to be fighting life, and I didn't have much hope that it was going to get any better. I just felt that I had a duty to the people in my life to keep going. I had a daughter, husband. They deserved to have me, and for me to fulfill that duty that I felt I had towards them. I think really that was the only thing that kept me going a lot of the time, because my own self, I didn't feel that I was I was ever going to see a better life. Yeah. So it was just that just sort of put one foot in front of the other. As you said, do the groceries, do the stuff, tick lists, and carry on.
Okay, so in your chapter, there's quite a few things that you've brought out as things that has been really helpful for you. If you can say to somebody who's in the same position as you, uh, some somebody who really don't know where to anymore, somebody who's so desperate for help, and I was totally desperate myself and had no clue where to start because there just wasn't enough help available when I was looking. Um, what would you say? What is the one thing that anybody can do that will make a huge difference?
I think, well, you need help. You need to find help. And it's, for me, I kept thinking I found help, and I've been to, I think it was 8 different psychologists over the years, many types of spiritual healers, and, well, read many books and attended many workshops. And each time I thought, okay, this is it, I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to be free, and it's going to be, I just felt, okay, I'm going to give it my all and go for it. And obviously it would last for a little while, and then, slowly my old ways and old brain loops come back, and I'm back to square one, and then I think, oh, I'm never trying anything again. And find help and don't give up. Even if you
Mm.
have to keep trying something new, you have to just do it. Take, if you feel like giving up, take a break, take space to just stop, and don't push yourself, but don't give up. um I mean, it was what, how many, 12 years of trying to find help, and if I had given up, I wouldn't be here. I
Mm.
know it took a lot of my life away, sort of, but I have so much more to look forward to. I mean, in the past, I was looking forward to just darkness for the rest of my life. And now I have hope. And now there's even beauty and joy in my life. And it's still a long way to go, but I know that it's still going to get better. It's never going to go back to where it was, because I can never be that person again. Yeah.
I think I agree with you 100%. It is the unwillingness to give up, to the keep on trying. I think it's that thing of put your attention where you want to go. But I mean, you know what? When we when we talk about what we are dealing with, we are dealing with a whole world out there who is the same as us. We don't know what we don't know. We don't even have a name for what we are looking for. That's why I like what you wrote there. Um, that desperation, that you just don't want it. You don't want the rest of your days to be dark. So if you if you keep on looking for something, then at least you are doing something. You are, even if your hopes get dashed. So that, I think, Tashni, is a great point. Okay, so what else helped for you? Like some practical
Um,
things people can do,
some
except for looking.
practical things.
Yeah, except for looking for help.
I think it's just trying to add small things that brought me joy, even for a little bit. I used to really enjoy doing craft classes and pottery classes, so I used to go for those, just like a weekend, 2 day class, or painting, or just something. And yeah, that those just small things I used to try and just bring me some joy for that bit of time. And yeah, hobbies. So try to surround yourself with people that uplift you, which is sometimes hard, because if you already feel down, you sort of attract more of that.
Yeah,
But yeah, trying and talking to people. I used to talk, I even told a lot of people about what I was going through. And I mean, not everyone will respond the way you would like, but I think it meant that I was always being honest with who I was, and I wasn't trying to run away from my problems. I always knew I needed to face them. And yeah, I think those types of things do help.
yeah. Okay, so I think we've muffin.
I'm
Get muffin.
often.
Okay? Muffin. So I think, okay, so there's a lot more in your chapter, and you are
Yes,
describing your whole story.
yes,
The whole story beautifully there, and with a lot of detail and help and advice and insight, real insight for somebody who's been in the trenches. But you're now qualified as a functional doctor.
mm. Well,
Okay.
I was practicing holistic medicine.
Yes. 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 So, and am I correct that a big part of it is because you understood there's a connection between body and mind?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, 100%. Well, my own personal journey with medical problems and illness, I think first it started with, the psychiatric diagnosis. It told me I have bipolar mood disorder. And I accepted that for a while, for quite a few years. And um, then the physical illnesses started, and it was just one after the other, and it didn't make sense what was happening to me. And I went from one doctor to another, from one specialist to another, blood tests upon blood tests, all kinds of strange tests done on me. And, I would just go home with more tablets, or nothing much, because they couldn't really find what was going on with me, and I also began to think that maybe it's all in my head, and that's what sort of they were alluding to, that it's all in my head. So from that point, I tried to I started reading more into alternative medicine and alternative practices and spirituality, and yeah, sort of tried to go down that road. And I think as I say in the chapter, I was one of those people. I mean, I am a medical doctor, and then I started reading about all these things, this alternative therapy, and the whole thing about the dark night of the soul and the spiritual crisis. And I didn't know which way I was going, because I felt I had to make this choice. I had to either choose: I'm a doctor, a medical doctor, I'm a scientist. I don't believe in things that you cannot prove with scientific proof, and versus this thing of spirituality that didn't fit with that medical paradigm, or didn't even come into the medical textbooks. So that for a while I split myself and tried to divide my world. Eventually tried to bring that together, and I realized that no, I can't do that, because my problems are holistic. I'm firstly in a body that does have physical problems, that needs some medical attention sometimes, but also I'm a spiritual person. I am spirit. I have emotions. I need to look at all of that. And only when I really started looking at myself as a holistic being, as a whole person, mind, body, soul, that's when I actually started to get better, to find ways to help myself recover and get back into a healthy state. It's easy for me to sit here and say this now, but I was in such a bad place. Just physically, I was so sick. I never thought I was going to get through that. I had long COVID before they knew there's such a thing as long COVID. And I thought, okay, that's it. My life is just going to be illness after illness. If it's not illness, I was depressed or anxious. And that was it, this roller coaster of problems. And slowly, very slowly, and with lots of learning points in between, you pull yourself out little by little. And yeah, I'm now at that space. Coming back to your original question, yes, holistic medicine, just trying to combine mind, body, soul, because you cannot separate it. I know, based on my own experience, that my emotional and mental health 100% affected my physical health. And it's like this loop that goes, when you get sick, and then you sort of energy goes down, and then your mental health suffers, and it just carries on until you actually deal with the underlying issues, the root cause of everything. And that takes work, and that takes courage and willingness to really look at yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we're talking about stuff, we stuff our feelings. So we internalize it and we don't let it come out. And that has to go somewhere in the body,
Yes.
especially if we've got this thing going on of I have to look okay and organized, like we said before. I just have to look okay to the world. But those feelings, all that marshmallow inside, that hurts, that hurts like everybody else, those feelings are stuffed down. But we can go like 12 steps further and we can say, how many things did you normalize as a child? How many hurts could you not take anywhere else? How many hurts did you have nobody that you could go through to? How
Mm,
alone did you feel as a child? How judged did you feel as a child? How unseen did you feel? How much did you value that people value you for what they wanted you to be? So we have a long list of injuries, most of us, that we carry with us, and a lot of us don't even know that we have those injuries, those traumas,
mm,
those small traumas or big traumas, because we've just squished it. We can't remember it, which is already a sign that you had trauma, or otherwise we normalized it. Like I had a happy childhood,
mm, mm,
and those ones, the effect of all of those, they come out later in our life. I mean, they just there all the time. So
mm,
as you started healing your traumas, could you start, could you get to a point? I mean, you said it, I'm just asking in a different way. So you, while you were getting happier, while you were getting more um, content inside yourself, more sure of your ability to have a happy life, did you like literally start seeing this one goes away and that one is not a factor anymore, and things are starting to feel like, I feel like actually that I can start to look at being feeling like a whole person.
I can breathe again.
Mm,
That's what it
mm,
felt like.
yeah.
Yes, I think my focus wasn't on getting happier. It was on trying to process all the stuff that I didn't know I even felt. And processing it took a long time. I mean, it's a word we like to use, processing. What does that even mean? It just meant I cried a lot. I wrote a lot in a journal. Well, I was speaking to you, coming for sessions, counseling, just and trying to really look at the relationships in my life, trying to figure out why I was feeling the way I felt, and actually pinpointing what the emotions were and giving it a name. And then from there saying, okay, I'm angry with this person. Why am I angry? Why am I resentful? And not feeling guilty while doing that, because you're not judging that person or your past or your parents. What you're doing is just trying to see, how did I get here, and how then can I be better so that I can have a different future. I don't want to carry all that stuff with me. I want to drop the baggage now. And as a side effect of going through that, the happiness came.
Mm,
It didn't happen because I aimed for it. It was sort of, oh, okay, that I enjoyed a sunrise and a sunset. And when I could start seeing the green of the leaves again, and it didn't just look like I was looking at a blur, then I knew something shifting in me. But it
mm,
didn't happen where, one day I woke up and, oh, everything, the world was filled with color and everyone was so wonderful and I was so wonderful and, oh, I was just on top of the world. No, it would start off, a day would start off with a beautiful sunrise and maybe a few moments of peace if I had a sip of coffee. And then the day would start, and then I would interact with people. And then I would slowly go back into my old ways of thinking. Oh, does that person not like me? I should have said yes. How could I say no? Am I not a good person? Did I not do enough? Was I not a good mother today? And then the thoughts start coming, and then trying to get through them. And by the end of the day, you sitting again with all the stuff. But it gets easier as time went by and months really went by. It was less of me needing to keep pulling myself back, because I started realizing I wasn't going there, because I had to keep reminding myself not to go there. And then eventually it became a habit. And I stopped myself now. As soon as I'm starting to be mean to myself, oh, Tash, you shouldn't have done that. I'm like, okay, it's okay. Even if I wasn't supposed to do that, it's done. It's okay. I'm okay. I can move
mm,
on now. I don't need to beat myself up about that. I don't need to be perfect. That
mm,
was the big thing. I've always been a perfectionist, and trying to get out of that was tough,
mm.
the
Yeah, that,
toughest.
yeah, it's awesome to hear, and it's awesome to witness. And
Mm.
you know, it's that thing where people say, yeah, but it must have been easy for you, and there is no such thing. Now, I want to put this in perspective. Doing this work is work. And I
Yeah.
know that most of us want to run away when we know you have to work. And especially if I say to somebody, processing means
Mm.
processing the feelings, feeling the feelings, because we're so scared of feeling the feelings. But feeling the feelings is actually not the problem, is it? It's the fear.
Of what happens after that.
Yes.
Because you sort of feel as if you feel it, then you're going to be stuck there again, and you're never going to get out of that feeling.
Mm,
And then you realize, okay, I can feel that, but I'm not there anymore. I'm just feeling it. I'm here. I'm this person. I'm an adult. I'm now choosing that I don't want to go there anymore. I'm choosing a different path. I
Yeah,
think that that is it. We just stuck in that child
yeah,
um
fear.
brain. Yeah.
Yeah, that fear, the fear of a
Mm.
child that we don't understand that we are actually adults,
Yeah.
and that we, like you say, we are in a different place. So we are now capable of processing it, where we were not capable as children.
Mm.
And so because we fear that so much, I mean, for me, it used to feel like if I go there, there's the danger that I'm going to start crying. And when I start crying, I
Mm.
have no ways of stopping that damn wall. I just
Mm.
knew that if I started crying, that whole damn wall would break over me and wash me away. And then it wasn't like that, because
Mm.
when we befriend our feelings, when we become willing to feel them, they just pass through us. It's just to do it the initial few times, to go like, what? I'm still here. My hands didn't fall off. It's like, wow,
Mm.
it's an amazing thing. But I think, we also need to look at the different. So on the one side, we fear those feelings, but what we don't see, and this is the motivation, is we, if we don't do something differently, if we don't go through what we fear,
Mm.
we're going to stay stuck where we are. And that is the horrible, horrible, horrible realization. But somehow we don't think like that. We feel, our brain tricks us to feel, we feel safe where we're unhappy, where we are
Mm.
struggling. And we
Mm.
fear going to our solution.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. What it happens, it still does, because I'm so used to being in um that dark place, where things are hard, where I'm struggling, and I couldn't see the way forward. And now I go back into that space, and like, oh no, everything's going wrong. I'm going back, I'm slipping back, and then it's sort of I don't know, can't explain what it is. It's obviously, maybe it's our inner self, our inner guide or intuitive self that sort of pops up and like, hold on now, please, let's not go the pity party. It's move forward now. Yeah. So yeah, it is. It's hard,
But
but
I
to
think the
just,
more, sorry, Dashni, the more we
yeah.
learn how to adult, the
Yes.
more we like it, the easier it is to go back to adulting, and the less willing we are to go and sit in all those feelings of a child, because the feelings of a child are so powerless and so hopeless and so desperate and so sad and so unsupported. It's just to
Mm.
make that switch, that we want to start feeling how it feels to be a true adult who is not bound by those old feelings, but who's
Mm.
put new neural ways in our head, and
Mm.
who keep practicing it. Because once you start
Mm.
feeling it, once you start getting that grace
Mm.
of,
Mm.
I'm here,
That's.
I'm present, I'm free from that, the
Mm.
more unwilling you are to go back to that old stuff.
Mm. I think that's the keyword that you said, practicing, Louise. And it's just like, any muscle you want to develop in your body, you have to put in the effort, go to the gym, lift those weights. You have to do the same with your brain. You have to keep practicing, keep going down the path that you want to be on, no matter how many times your brain tries to derail you somewhere else. It's very hard, but you have to keep doing it. And I learned, after trying to hide away from the world for a while, that you cannot do it that way. You cannot read a book, sit in your house and tell yourself affirmations and feel good, because I could do that and build myself up and feel all confident. And the minute drove out, the door, I'm at the shop, the first person I meet can just tip me over, and that's it. I can run back to my house and, just hide there again. So you have to keep practicing with people in the real world, and then maybe strangers first, and then on the people close to you, because
Mm.
that's the hardest part. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say, practice your no on the carpet salesman. He's important
Mm.
to your carpets, but he's not
Mm.
emotionally that important
Yeah.
to you. So you want to
Mm.
practice the first no. Tell the
Mm.
carpet salesman. Don't start with your nearest and dearest. You don't start there.
Mm. Yeah.
Practice, because practice makes perfect. Wonder, before
Mm.
I share the next slide, I want to go see
Mm.
how it's going there with our questions. Okay. Okay. Mitch is going to give us a good question here again. Okay. This is a good
Thank you,
one.
Mitch.
Okay. Where did you get a belief about how life should be? I feel we are given a picture of what an ideal life looks like from well meaning others, but they may not work for us. Hmm, good question.
Hmm. Well, I know that is from my childhood, and it is from my experiences in my childhood. I can't pinpoint exactly where and when, but my memories are that I've always needed to be this perfect child. And no one told me that. No one gave me a mandate and said, there's your life purpose and responsibility, and now go forth and do that. But I think I just took it upon myself. Yeah, to be that way, to take on the responsibilities and to control everything, and to be perfect and to be the straight A student, and achieve what everyone expects me to achieve, and get that validation from by looking at the faces around me on awards day. Oh, Tashni, you did so well, we're so proud of you. And then you live off that, but you go home and you don't feel anything, because you didn't do it for yourself, you just did it for the acknowledgement from others. And I don't know, it just sort of was it was just who I knew I was. But as I'm finding myself a bit more, or unraveling my true self, I'm realizing that I'm not really all that. And the things that I like are actually quite different from what the old Tashni would have been interested in. Um, I'm not sure if we fully answered that question.
Well, I
Whether.
think I can add a bit. It's what we
Um,
get validated for is going to
mm,
have very big
mm,
influence because what we get validated for makes us feel better. So if somebody in passing can say, "You're my clever child,"
mm,
or uh, "Watch Tashni, she's so clever, she's going to be a doctor." Little Tashni is going to be
yeah.
a little doctor, because this is like the
Mm,
validation. This is what people are proud of. So that's the kind of thing that, and I'm not saying this happened to you, but this is the
mm,
kind of thing where people give us positive input. It is
mm,
so, so, so strong. The negative input gives us more defense mechanisms, and the positive
mm,
input gives us things to strive for. And
mm,
Mitch, I think we're just a mix of an entire environment. And if you read Hamster Wheel Relationships for Women, uh, even if you're a man, then I've worked through all the original caregivers. So it's the original caregivers and all the big events in your life, and then there's
mm,
your DNA, and then there is um, how you as an individual internalize all these experiences. So it's unique for everyone, but we are little sponges, and we're going to suck them up. I think we've got another good question here from Mitch. I haven't read it. Let's see. All right, you're a doctor, the creme de la creme. How would you help someone who feels stuck at the bottom of society's ladder put herself into a place where she can apply to her needs or his self? I think this is a good, good, good question for you, Tashni.
how would you help someone? Hmm. Maybe you can give me a bit of context, Louise.
Okay, so you are in your practice and there's somebody sweeping the floors,
Mm,
and I mean, I know you do this thing, yeah, where you um, where you buy cake and give people time
oh. Mm, mm,
and treat them like you're equal, because
mm,
I think the answer is you see people as a valuable person no matter what. So I know you do
mm,
it. No matter
mm,
who they are, you see people as a valuable person. And I know you do this.
mm. Oh, is that the question? Maybe I'm misinterpreting
I
it.
don't know. I also
Okay.
don't know. Mitch will tell us if we um, for me, and I think let's discuss this because it's a good question, Tashni. For me, it is. Whenever you believe in somebody, you give him wings. It's very hard not to have somebody who believe in you. And I know from your own situation, for you to pull yourself out of this having people look at you like you're broken, and to have somebody who believes in you. And I think this is the greatest gift we can give anybody ever, is to believe in.
Mm. To believe in themselves. Yeah. I, I think it's just living as an example. I don't ever tell people anything that I don't believe myself or that I don't live myself. I'm very, one of my things is I'm very anti being a hypocrite, and I am constantly judgmental of myself if I ever cross that boundary of where I say something, but I don't practice it. So whenever anyone interacts with me, I just speak the truth
Mm,
about myself, about where I'm coming from, where I am in my life, and I don't ever try now, especially to make it seem like my life is perfect. I try to be more real, and I found that I guess people do respond better to that, and it helps me feel that I'm not wearing that mask anymore, and that no matter who I interact with, they get to see the real me. And I hope that I am a better example than I was before.
mm.
So I hope we got the essence of your question there, Mitch. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to ask me to see. Okay, so hey, is it spot on? You may not see it because it is who you are. Yeah, I think so. How did you do things? So sometimes we've got to ask ourselves, how did I get here? Sometimes you have to say,
Mm,
what is it? What is it that really helped you? I remember when I was in standard three, what grade, what 5, um, and I had one teacher who believed in me. I I still hold that somewhere in my heart. I had one teacher in this world. Somebody saw me. I felt completely invisible to everyone else. But there was this one teacher who made time for me. And sometimes that's all you need. You sometimes just need one person who believes in you. Okay, so I want to go to another slide here. Let's see. I have to go find it. In the meantime, everybody, you can start thinking about your questions. Okay, so I think we're going to talk about medication now. I always, oh no, this is the wrong one, wrong person.
Not me.
Not you. That was last week. Okay, all right. And this is very dear to my heart, this one. Okay. I firmly believe that we have become a society far too invested in the next pill, medical intervention, or radical therapy. We are not stopping for a moment to figure out why we are so sickly and fragile. We as the medical community are bypassing the very basic and most powerful intervention of promoting lifestyle change, getting to the root cause of problems, and finding the mind body soul connection. You know, this this is like one of my, don't get me started on this subject,
Yeah.
because we so blindly go with what our doctors recommend. And I have a lot of respect for our doctors, and we have a lot of expectation that our
Mm,
doctors are going to guide us well. But our doctors are just humans, and our medical science is not that old, like what, 120 years, if at,
mm.
I think it's a little bit less than 120 years. And we, I think we're still walking experiments.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I think with this especially, I still use this with patients that I do see. I always tell them that I'm not here to cure you or to heal you or make you better. You need to do this for yourself. And lots of people come to doctors, okay, what do I need to take? And like, no, so I do really try to do lifestyle modification, but I realize that we've become that society that's just okay, just give me the tablet, just give me the pill. It's okay. I'm already on 10 different tablets for pressure, sugar, cholesterol, thyroid. Just add another one. What's another pill gonna do? But we can't keep doing that. We just like chopping limbs when they, just cutting parts of our body, bypassing arteries.
Mm.
We can't carry on like this. We need to really look at ourselves and take responsibility for our own health, our own bodies, our lives. Yeah. Not putting it in the hands of some stranger, because a doctor is still a stranger. They do not know everything about you. They just know the physical things, the vital signs. They can listen to your heart and lungs, but that doesn't tell them what's going on in your heart in terms of emotionally and spiritually. And that you have to factor in as an important contributing factor to your health. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think a lot of people are so willing to put their bodies, their lives
Mm.
into the hands of somebody else without understanding that they are really the only person inhabiting that body. Then
Yeah.
nobody else can feel that body the way you are feeling. And for you not to start tuning into your body, to start
Mm.
listening to your body, because our body
Mm.
screams about our emotional distraughtness. Our bodies are screaming at us, and we don't listen. We're not paying attention. We just want to pull.
Mm. Louise, I was also a patient. And when I say these things, and especially in that chapter, it didn't not come from me as a doctor. It came from me as a patient
Mm.
myself, and going to doctor after doctor, tablets after tablets, tests after tests. And I eventually gave up on this whole system because I felt it had failed me, until I took responsibility for my own health and stopped putting it in the hands of all these doctors. And then only did I see real change and be open to different different ways of thinking. If you have a bad relationship with your family, it is going to affect your health. We just act as if it's, oh, just by the way, I have hypertension and I don't talk to my brother or sister. Yes, that is a red flag. That is a contributing factor to your hypertension. But
If
it's,
you
yeah,
have a
work
bad
in
relationship
progress.
with yourself,
Yes, yes.
that one is very big, because if
Mm.
you are hard on yourself all the time,
Yeah.
you use demeaning words, you are
Mm.
putting pressure on yourself, you are harder on yourself than anybody
Mm.
else. You have all these expectations that you have to do things perfectly, and if you don't, you feel like you're failing. Like that is such a weight that you put on your body. And
Mm.
all the systems really works beautifully together. But if
Mm.
you interrupt one of the systems, then everything else is actually suffering. And I don't even know what's the current thing. Like sometimes it feels like you get 6 minutes with your doctor. I know it's somewhere between 6 and 9 minutes, because it's very, very seldom that you're going to get more than 9 minutes. That's like an accidental, very quiet day. So who can serve you when you get 9 minutes? And
Mm.
that time, there's still going to be a script written.
Mm.
Nobody's serving you. So you've got to take that responsibility for yourself, but you've also got to start looking at how you're treating yourself.
Mm.
Come on. Okay, so now I often say to people, you've got to own your own, you've got to own your own body. You've got to realize that you can go to anybody else, and you can, outside of you, any modality,
Mm.
and they will come from their reference field. They are not in your body going through what you are going through. And if you
Mm.
don't start listening to your body, if you don't start paying attention to what's going on there, your body will keep on doing it until you are paying attention. It's not going to go away by magic.
Mm. No, no, definitely won't.
So Tashni, I just want to bring out a few more
Mm.
actual symptoms that are related to our lack of emotional health. I
Mm.
used to say I could eat anything. I used to say I'm healthy. I never go to a doctor, which was the truth. I just never went to a doctor. And then my relationship became worse and worse. It used to be very happily, codependently married, and then it just started falling apart. And by the time when I realized I actually cannot do this anymore, I cannot do this one more minute, I suddenly, it was like literally, I went, I had a very big shock, a very big wake up call, and literally overnight, my blood pressure shot up from very low, very, very low, um, 70 over 50 low. That was my normal, and it shot up to abnormal high. It happened like this. It was an emotional shock, and the next thing, my blood pressure is sky high. And I'm still struggling with my adrenals because from all the cortisol in my body, I've had cortisol overload, so my adrenals stopped working, my thyroid stopped working, my hair, this was about 1/3 of this hair was on my head. Um, all the thyroid symptoms without getting a diagnosis, and just the one thing after the other, like you say. And I had to get happy in myself. I had to start taking care of myself. But the body symptoms still stayed with me for a long time. Because when you neglect yourself for such a long time, then the body symptoms don't recover that easily. So what are the other things that you can, except for blood pressure and for thyroid and those kind of problems, what is the other things that you would connect to actually being unhappy inside, or being not having worked through your traumas? What are some things that you think that people can use as a wake up call?
Okay. The first reason I think we need to qualify that, I mean, medical conditions are medical conditions. And if you need medical attention and if you need the medication, you need the medication. It's not a shame thing that, oh, you're not managing your emotions and now you're sick and it's your fault. That's not what we mean. But I think my personal experience has been that every medical condition that we have has some underlying emotional um, issue underlying everything. And it's not, I think it manifests differently. Obviously, there's genetic considerations and, where you're staying and socioeconomic factors, all of that. But okay, for me personally, I have had pulmonary tuberculosis. I have had they found I had cardiomyopathy. I had COVID. I had COVID twice. So I had heart failure. So all of these things, yes, I had actual excuse me, actual medical issues and I did need help, but I knew that underlying everything was a lot of other issues, because it just didn't make sense that you keep getting sick and you can't really find what's going on, and no one really seems to have an idea what's going on with you, and you physically feel you don't have any energy. You just feel tired all the time, no matter how much sleep you have, how many vitamins you're taking, how many injections, vitamin shot injections you're getting. It's just like feeling of complete depletion, burnt out. There's no life force left.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, I think, and from that, I mean, all your organ systems are going to be affected. They actually, I mean, the studies have found that loneliness has more of an effect on cardiovascular health than smoking. I mean, that's crazy to think that, and no one would even, oh, now that doesn't mean that you should start smoking and not be lonely, but it just means that, look at that, loneliness is such a predictor for cardiovascular coronary artery disease. So I mean,
And then there's a positive of it.
sometimes.
People in
Mm,
good relationships live longer. You know,
yes, yes.
you can look at it from the other way.
Yeah.
I,
Mm,
I have a lot of people who, because they know I like natural, I like it, I prefer it. It's not the only thing in the world. Then I completely agree with you. We're not saying to people, go off your medication. Please, in
no.
heaven's name, don't do that. But start becoming aware what's going on. And people will say to me, I I took an antibiotic. Sorry, like what? I have no problem with that. I'm a microbiologist. If you've got an
mm,
infection, take your antibiotic and finish it and do what the doctor says.
mm,
There is science. There's actual
mm,
science. We like science. There's nothing wrong with
mm,
science. It is ignoring
mm,
the emotions. It is
mm,
giving the pill too easily. When and
mm,
there's people coming back for pills, but like you say, you don't do anything about the loneliness. You don't do anything
mm,
about the social anxiety. You don't get
mm,
rid of all the trauma that's sitting inside you. And cancer,
mm,
just how our risk for cancer goes up if we spend 3 weeks and helpless and hopeless. I spent 2 years in helpless and hopeless and was luckily just that thought in myself inside myself that Louise, you cannot do this to yourself. You will get something that's going to be incurable. And that was before I knew there was a real relationship between sitting in helpless and hopeless and getting cancer.
mm.
And how many people sit in helpless and hopeless all of their life?
I think, Louis, it's just a collaboration between do medical science, but also looking again holistically, biopsychosocial. You cannot just look at one part and expect to be healed and whole. And yeah, I think that's the issue. And if pills were the magic cure for everything, then why are people on all chronic medication? Many are still unhappy. Many are still, they're not going easily through life and still struggling and still suffering. So obviously that isn't the only solution, but nor is only now ignoring your physical health and then going into a spiritual path and just becoming obsessed with spirituality and then neglecting your actual physical body, because we are still physical beings at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
we need to take care of it, this body.
Yeah, and that was a very big lesson for me because my
Mm,
mother was a hypochondriac, so I refused to be sick.
mm,
And so I let it carry on for too long. I just refused to be sick. And and so it's being not balanced. And I think if we take it to adulting, to better adulting,
mm,
then better adulting says you are an adult. You are supposed to take care of your own health by going to the right people, to following the expert advice, by
mm,
asking yourself, is it enough? Is there more? What is the cause? What can I do different?
mm,
Not just going with it, but actually start becoming involved in your own what your body is telling you, in
mm.
your own health.
Yes.
Okay, Tashni, so let's go back
Mm,
and check our questions quickly. I think we've covered a lot of my favorite things to cover. Muffin's back
mm,
again. Okay, let me see. Let's see what's our questions here. Okay, there. My bad relationship is a form of self-abuse I wasn't aware of until now. Yeah, that's a big, big, big insight. Okay, so I want to just remind people there that we like it when you give us hearts, please. Thank you for once who's given us hearts. Thank you, Mitch. And thank you for all the questions. And if anybody has any questions, when still any questions, post them now. And otherwise, we'll go back and we'll go and look afterwards and see if we can answer your questions. Okay, so in summary, life was desperate and bad and hard and difficult and with no hope, very little hope. But something kept you going. And here you are.
yes.
Okay. Has it been worth it?
100%. I would do it again. Obviously, I would try to skip a lot, a lot of the pain and suffering. But yeah, no, it definitely it's worth it. And to just see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that there is hope, that this, that wasn't going to be the rest of my life. That's just amazing that I can actually enjoy life.
I think there's an amazing, amazing benefit in being broken open enough
Mm,
because none of us, until we're broken up, open enough, are willing to take help. Um, And so there's a huge benefit to being broken open enough. It's also the point where we feel our most desperate. And yeah, so I recommend for anybody that to that to get our book. I think our book is amazing. I think
Mm.
um, it's going to help a lot of people. It's at a formatter now. It's already available for pre-ordering on Amazon. And I keep on telling everybody, don't go and buy it. Wait, because we're going to drop the price for you. So don't go and buy it. It will be available soon. And yeah, thank you, Tashni. You made a very, very powerful contribution, and it's coming from a scientific way, and I love that. Um,
Thank you, Louise.
so let me check quickly, and I don't see any more questions here. So we can safely. I know not everybody can watch us tonight because of all this stupid load shedding. But I know a lot of people are going to come and watch us in the replay. We're going to get some beautiful, beautiful comments tomorrow. Thank you, everybody who comes and watch the replay. Remember, keep on giving the heart. Makes me very happy. And share. If you know of people that need this, there's always somebody who needs this. So please share and see you next week again. Thank you so much, Tashni. So much love to
Thank
you.
you,
So much
Louise.
appreciation.
Thank you.